So the way we did this on Monday, which I thought was pretty good, we'll do the same thing. Each of us are just gonna talk about really the impact it had on us and, you know, what we did when we were there and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll open it up to some questions. Oh yeah, thanks, and the change jars. So while we're talking, you can fill the change jars with lots of money. All right, Dennis, do you wanna start? No, Denise is gonna start, jeez, okay. Okay.
One in the same order, Glenn. You're creatures of habit. The reason that I want to go first is I was not there as long as the rest of these people, so I really don't have as much to share with you. I got delayed here, and so I didn't get on the flight with them.
You have to tell the story.
What, the flight story? Well, yeah, so then I got a ticket for Monday evening, and I got on the airplane, and we taxied away, and we stopped. And there was some problem where we were going to connect in Chicago. I had never heard of it, but no planes could touch down. There was like I don't know. But anyway, so we sit there, and then finally they're like, okay, we're sorry, our crew has timed out. So we need to pull back in. Everybody needs to get off the plane. They have to get a new crew. So we all get off the plane. Well, at this point, it's Harrisburg. It's already like 9 o'clock at night. So we get off the plane. We're standing there. They cancel the flight. So I didn't get on the plane with them on Saturday. I didn't get on the plane on Monday night. So I was determined to get to this convention. So I switched my flight till Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. I show up at the airport. I don't remember what time, 4:15. It's Harrisburg. Like, why do you have to get there that early? Go to check my bag. She said, oh, it's too late to check a bag. I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, can I leave it here? Can he come back and get it? And she said, that would be unattended baggage. Like, what if I set it outside? She said, no. So I called Greg quick. I'm like, can you please just turn around and get back here as quick as you can? Because now the clock is ticking. So I go out on the sidewalk. I open my suitcase. I had this tiny backpack that I stick as much stuff as I possibly can try to stick in it. In my backpack, I put on my cowgirl boots because I'm going to Houston. I couldn't go without them. Run to the plane. I get on. Greg texts me. He's like, do you want me to like FedEx this suitcase to you? I'm like, no, it's a couple of days. I'll be fine. He's like, no, your underwear are all on the sidewalk there. So I am proof that you don't need much to go to convention. So I did finally get there Tuesday. The greatest impact for me, I think, was, for one thing, the size of it. Like, you walk into the large room and all of the people, and they did a great job of screens and projectors, and it was awesome. And for me, Rotary, just the impact it's had on my life is seeing women in leadership. And so Jennifer Jones is the president, and to see a woman in that position really impacts me because it shows, you know, it leads the way, because it wasn't that long ago you couldn't be a woman and be in Rotary, and now you can do amazing things. And I think the picture could possibly be coming up. So finally we get to the end. We're at their last night. We missed it. We're our last night. It'll be on here. We're at dinner. We get to this Mexican restaurant, and there's this glass little room, and we get put at a table in there. There's one large table, and then there's like 2 small tables, and we were at the smaller table. People start coming into the larger table, and the next thing you know, she walks in. And Glenn's like, you are not going to make a spectacle of yourself, and you're not going to ask for a picture. Okay, Glenn. So luckily, the way I was seated, everybody had to get up and go out, and I was the last one out. So I'm like, can I have a selfie? And so she took a selfie with me. She was really amazing and gracious about it. Nah. I did it anyway. So yeah, the biggest impact for me, like I said, is just to know that the opportunities for leadership in Rotary as a woman are there, and there are women leading the way. And so even though I was only there for a day and a half, it was a lot of fun. I encourage you to go sometime if you have the opportunity, and I'm going to pass it to someone else.
Good job.
So first of all, everybody should go to a convention. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think it was, I might have been spoiled because I got to go with a bunch of people. I wasn't there by myself. And then we all went out, and that was probably the best part, just going out and drinking. That's what I actually really like to do. I just like to go out drinking and go to the restaurants. But, so there was the fellowship of it. The educational component, I think if you're interested in furthering Rotary's mission, it's also important to go. If you would like to lead Rotary, it's important to go. They have a lot of workshops on all sorts of topics. I tried to go, I went to probably 10 throughout the week, making our meetings better, increasing the diversity of the club, how to increase engagement. Unfortunately, I forgot it all, but I do have some notes. Oh, she is. So, I think it's stuff that we can use to improve the club. So I think that's anybody that's looking to improve the club and have some fellowship should go. Houston was very hot. But they had some good bars, and apparently the only other thing that Houston has is NASA, as far as I can understand that. But so I'm not a Texas fan, I guess. But it was a good experience to go with a good group of people. Yeah, so I think that's it.
I think the neatest part is like all the people. There were 10,000 people there. And it didn't feel like 10,000 until you were all in that big room, but it was big enough, could hold everybody, and like Denise said, the screens and the audio, everything was like perfect. And I thought, I don't want to do like Rotary, like international stuff. They're probably all guys that look like Dennis. But I don't know if I saw anybody else in flip-flops. But it was all ages, all nationalities, and it was pretty cool when they do the parade of flags at the beginning, and the huge pregnant pause when the Ukrainian flag came out. That was amazing. Like everything just stopped, and standing O's for the Ukrainians. So it was a lot of fellowship, a lot of camaraderie. We did have a really good time. I didn't think we'd come back with 2 empty bottles of tequila, or 2 empty tequila bottles. But it just all worked so well. We went out to dinner, had a great time. And like Jeff said, you go into these breakout sessions, and then they put you in little groups or whatever you're supposed to talk about. And once again, we are a very, very viable, fortunate, wonderful club. There are so many clubs that are struggling. I was in groups that there were like 8 people in their club. There were 28 people in their club, trying to get engagement and so forth. So we are very, very fortunate in this little Elizabethtown community to have a club as active as we are, and making an impact. So, but I do have to tell a story. We talked about Jeff talked about going out. Dennis knows what's coming. All right, so.
She's told this 600 times. This is the.
It was 300 sitting back there. I didn't tell 300 between here and here. So these guys go to bed early, not me. But we go out and we walk back. We were at some brewery where we signed Mike Brubaker from Mooduk up for some beer club there.
Flying Saucer Beer Hall.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Flying Saucer Beer Hall. So we walk back. We all go back to, at least I thought we all went back to our rooms. And it's 10:15 and my phone goes off with a text from Dennis to Glenn and myself. And I'm thinking, Glenn's asleep. You are gonna piss him off. So Dennis says, can somebody come get me? I think I've had too much to drink or something like that. So I start just a single chat with Dennis. Where are you? I'll come get you. He says, I don't know, wherever the Rotarians are. And I'm thinking there are 10,000 freaking Rotarians, like within a 2-mile radius of here, really? Going back and forth. And I said, well, where are you? Well, how will I know that? I said, well, I asked somebody. He says, ask who? And okay, I'm all ready for bed, I'm reading my book, and I get dressed. Because I'm gonna get my 60-year-old butt, female butt, out into the streets of Houston to go get his drunken butt. Finally, he says, oh, they know where I'm staying. It's all good. I said, well, text me when you're back, so I know you're okay. This is the mom in me, even though you're like 100 years older than me. A couple days later, he says, can I tell you a secret and you won't be mad? I'm like, no. He said, okay. I said, well, tell me anyway. He says, I was in the hotel bar. This is what you missed.
It was even better than that.
All right, so I have a different take. I'm never traveling with these people again.
Oh, tell the Philly story.
The Philly story. I mean, that we got stuck.
Yeah.
So first, well, we drove down to Philadelphia the night before because we had a 5 a.m. flight, something like that, ridiculous. But it was the only way we could all get there at the same time, which is, logistics is hard sometimes. So we're literally coming down the elevator, all of us, about the same time. We're all in line at 3:15 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, to check out of the hotel, and all of our phones start dinging. And it's our flight being canceled at 3:15 in the morning. Delayed until 7 p.m. So we hadn't checked out yet, so we all there's nothing you can do about it. So we all said, let's just go back to bed and we'll get back up around 10 or something, and we'll just go into Philly for the day and drive around and hit a couple of breweries and do some stuff there, which we did. And then get back on a plane at 7, which we did, and head down. So we were going a day early, which was good, because we only missed a day getting there and getting ready. We didn't miss anything, really, which was nice. So that's another thing. If you go a day early, so you have some room to make up the missed flight.
Or 3 days late.
Or 3 days late. So for me, I mean, I concur with what they said. Everything was great. It was a very nice time. Rotary puts on a very, very good show. It's very organized. It's impressive. But what you get out of it, I think, the most is, we do a lot of good things in our club locally. And from seeing all the stuff in the news, what the district does. But, you read the magazine and you get little, spigots of what we do internationally. But when you're there, you really see the impact of what Rotary is. That it's hard to describe other than being there. I don't know how to say it other than that. It's a powerful experience to be there and see that you're part of this whole big organization, and that was the biggest takeaway for me. I'd love to go to another one. I'm not going to go all the way to Melbourne or Singapore, but when it comes back into Canada, Calgary in 3 years, I think we'll probably get a bunch of people to go to that. But the other thing that I can't imagine is we only had 10,000 people there, 10, 11,000, I think. There have been some that have been 40,000. There's a lot that have been 20,000. So I can't imagine what that's like. So I'd be curious to go to another one that's huge. I think COVID still had some issues with this one, people traveling internationally. But that would be something to see that, in my opinion. But it was a fantastic experience.
Plus Calgary's north in June versus south to Houston in June.
I just want to see if they left me enough time. So, yeah, they talked about 10,000 plus people there, and I've been to conventions that have been 30,000. They could put 10,000, over 10,000 people in this one huge room for the opening ceremony and closing ceremony. When you go and there's even 20,000 people, they have 2 opening sessions and 2 closing sessions. And Glenn talked about the quality of the production that's put on. When you look at the cost, the registration cost, you think, that seems like a lot of money for a registration. When you get there and you see everything that happens during this convention, you wonder, how did they do it on that little bit of money they got from me for registration? It is very, very impressive. The committee that put it together did a phenomenal job. I know the past RI director that was the chair of this convention. He's going to help me get the RI president here for our 100th anniversary. Next year, it's in Singapore. Some of you here have met Jeff
Melbourne.
Oh, I'm sorry, Melbourne. 2 years in Singapore, 2 years. In Singapore, Jeff Catarat from the Philly area, who some of you have met, is the chairman of that convention. But yes, next year in Melbourne. I've used conventions as an excuse to travel, and I've gone to places that I never would have, gone to without a Rotary International Convention. I was at Sydney. Australia had been on my bucket list for many, 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 many years. And when I heard that International Convention was going to be in Sydney, I knew immediately I was going. Great time. Absolutely loved going there. Actually, I spent a month in Australia, around the country, and had a phenomenal time. This coming year, Melbourne. If any of you ever wanted to get to Australia, this is a great opportunity to travel. And when you get there, there were 10,000 plus Rotarians. You had 10,000 people that you could talk to, that were willing to talk with you, answer questions, ask you, where you're from, what's your club like. You feel like you're talking with friends when you go to an international convention. And you've got people from all over the world wearing their native, nice dress clothing. Or you've got people there in Hawaiian shirts and shorts and flip-flops. So you can pretty much go as you want. The first convention I went to was Chicago for the 100th anniversary. And I knew as soon as it was announced that the 100th anniversary convention was going to be in Chicago, where Rotary was founded, I knew I had to go. I went to that one and was hooked. And like I said, I've been to 6 now, only 2 in this country. Bangkok, Thailand was not on my bucket list, but I went to Bangkok, and I don't need to go back to Bangkok. I was there once, that was enough. I'd go back to Lisbon, Portugal, again and again. I'd go back to Sydney again and again. Frankfurt, Germany, had a great time. But it's a great excuse to travel and see another part of the world, meet people from all over the world. So, anyone have any questions for any of us?
But you know what would be neat is if we went through the pictures and put them in context.
Excuse me?
Like explain what the pictures are.
What's the
As
one
we're-
where
We were
you're
in
on the,
Philadelphia drinking. Deb's driving, the rest of
Because
us
he's
are
not
drunk.
drank too much. Go ahead.
So they have like a, what do they call it? The
A fellowship,
The
fellowship.
fellowship hall where
John,
you
can you
can,
stop it?
where you can buy
no, I don't
Rotary
think I
gear
can.
and all sorts of stuff. Houston's, NASA's the only thing they have in Houston.
There's
That's,
Debbie,
can you
suited
come in
up.
and close the door for Tommy?
I did.
Hi Gabe, what are you doing?
Oh, I just saw you crying.
Okay.
He's going to the next convention with
So my kid's super excited because I decided since he's 12 that he can come into town by himself, and so now
That's the
he's,
whole district right
now
there.
he's just roaming around.
What's the one where you're standing on the thing, Dennis?
Those are all the Ukraine people.
That one, yeah, what's that? What are you guys doing?
It's one of those things you get rid of your fat.
Vibrate.
Let's go beyond that.
I didn't buy one of those. I did buy a massage chair, bring it back.
Let's go here. I can go back again.
Okay.
I'm never gonna get that image out of my head.
Yeah, there we go.
That's how it started.
Cuban?
We picked up a homeless guy in E-Town,
I was waiting for them.
and we just hit a couple places in Philly before we left.
Yeah, designated driver.
So now we're there.
So this is the Beer Fellowship, which I'm a member of. Glenn has a shirt from there now.
What's a beer fellowship?
So Rotary has a whole lot of fellowships and its interest groups. And so the Brew Fellowship is beer Rotarians enjoy worldwide.
They had a big event one night,
There it
a
is.
huge event one night. It was really nice.
Yeah, we'll get to that event that the Brew Fellowship had.
Dennis, What, if I may, one of the most impressive things of this club is the energy of the leadership and the energy of the club members in various, and somehow to put that together with attendance at an international convention and bring that to the schools, because that's where our members are coming from, 9th grade and on, the effort, I think that's what the district governor said last week too. So, but we have it, this club has it.
Here's part of the parade of flags, and there were countries I've never heard of, nor would I be able to spell them if somebody asked me to.
Ghana, we were there.
Ghana, he can spell, yes. There's Shaker Mehta, he was the president last year.
That's a small breakout room.
Yeah.
And these are the Rotarians from the district that Juliet knew were there. There were others there that she didn't know about, couldn't contact.
Let me go back to that one. This is a Ukrainian flag, and we were in the House of Friendship, and the woman in the yellow hat in the middle, she was the Ukrainian member. And everybody was giving her things. Here's it was something from Mexico, something from here. I'm curious, I don't have anything to give you. She says, give me a kiss. Kissed her on the cheek. So she was fantastic.
Imagine their road to get there.
Yeah, ignore that picture.
Thought Denise
So here we are,
Oh, yeah, that's
the other
sorry.
way.
Go back.
Okay, here we are going to the event that the Brew Fellowship had at a big brewery. It's 3 stories.
So hot.
It was. And we were up on the top 3rd floor outside. And this is Heather right here from
Extra sun.
Lancaster Sunrise. She was down there
By herself.
by herself, so she joined us that evening. And that's the winner.
Keep going.
Of the bull riding contest.
He stayed on the bull longer than I did.
And the bull's name is Cowboy. He was
Not
how
that
old?
one, the electron.
No, that one's
This one.
name is Cowboy. Yeah. That was huge. That picture, or that
They
sign.
had different luncheons. That's what one of these was.
This luncheon was that the president's luncheon, or we had astronauts speak.
Yeah.
We had 11-year-olds speak. We had entertainment, people who had been on The Voice. It was pretty cool.
The astronauts they told the coolest stories of stuff that went wrong and how they fixed it. It was kind of amazing.
And Glenn always has his camera out, his phone out, and he's taking pictures all the time.
Yeah.
And
So he walks around, you don't have security with him at all. He doesn't have an entourage, he's just walking around. And Jennifer Jones walks around, she's got 50 people around her.
Who's that guy?
It was crazy.
That's the
president.
last year's president.
Shaker made it. He's in the middle there.
So I mean, you could literally just walk up to him and say hi, and he's like, yeah, you know. But Jennifer Jones, it was hard to get to her. Denise did, but.
Told I wasn't allowed.
This
We
is
were
in a big
college
hall.
accepted. Yeah. Did we have the Rotary actors in front of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, from Brazil and all over the world, and talk about energy. First of all, they can dance like you would not believe, and they had a Congo line going around the hall.
Around Houston.
See, it won't let me,
This kid right here, she said 11, he was actually 9 years old. He spoke in one of the big sessions to the whole 10,000 people. He was one of the best speakers that I have heard in a long time. He's a 9-year-old kid, and it was all about being kind. It was
he was
amazing.
the Time 2021 Kid of the Year. And he fed the homeless, collected
Books.
food, and now he has a book. And I looked at it before and it was like $12 or something on Amazon. Now it's like $45 on Amazon. But this kid is amazing. His name is Orion Jean, if you ever need to look him up, Orioan. Shaker
That's all ice cream.
It's all chocolate ice cream.
It is all chocolate. The shell is chocolate, it came closed, open it up, and,
It was white chocolate in the shape of a cocoa bean.
yeah, I forget what I paid for that, but it was worth it.
This was at that high-end Mexican restaurant.
Did you bring us some?
So you ate the chocolate shell as well then?
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on, I gotta go back here.
What's the, is that a tequila bottle?
That is a tequila bottle. The
It
story got
retails for.
$3,400.
Full.
Full.
That was empty.
We were at the high-end Mexican restaurant bar waiting to catch the bus out to the Brew Fest, and we had to go inside because it was hot. So Denise is admiring this large tequila bottle, it was white and blue. There's a picture of it later. And she said, I can't buy it, it's $150, Greg doesn't let me buy that. So I said to
If Greg
barkeeper, I said, you know, would you give us that bottle if it was empty? Happened to have one shot left in it. So we bought the shot, and the 5 of us all sipped.
Wait, Glenn bought the shot for what?
No, I bought that
Oh,
one.
you bought that one?
I
How
bought
much,
that
how
one.
much was one shot?
I have no idea, I just paid the bill.
I think it was $110.
No.
Not that one.
Didn't get there yet.
Then
Oh.
Denise is looking
Oh,
up there,
you're
she
right,
says,
right, right.
oh, look at that bottle, I've
Yes.
always liked that one, and it's a special edition. And I said, bartender, after he already washed out that other one and gave us the pretty blue and white one, I said, how much, could we have that one? And he goes over, he says, about 2 ounces in there. And we're like, would you give us the bottle? He said, sure, I'll wash it out. And he looks at Glenn, he says, this is a little more expensive.
It's 125 shot.
Glenn's like, 120, go ahead. We sipped that one, and there is quite a bit of difference
There's.
between the $150 and the $3,400 bottle. But Denise, remember now, has this tiny little backpack to get these tequila bottles home, because we got them for her. So Glenn ended up taking one, and I took one because Dennis bought some
Back massage.
back massager that he shoved in his.
I now have a tequila bottle collection that I've started. This is where Glenn was saying to me, do not make a fool of yourself, you cannot take a picture with her.
Look at her husband, look at her husband, go back.
Okay, hold on. Wait, before you do that, that's the blue and white bottle.
Yeah.
Go back again.
Look at him.
Sophie, can I have a selfie, please?
He's a tag along.
She's fun, she was good.
Yeah, so there is our blue and white bottle. And I said, Brew Fest, when we started.
Going back up again.
Any questions?
I'm interested in how many conventions each of you have gone to.
Wow.
First one.
That was my first
First
one.
one,
Yeah.
first one, first one, 49.
6.
Who else has gone to a convention in the room?
Ralph? Yeah, how many you have?
International convention,
Yeah.
but not Rotary.
No, but
Rotary
Rotary.
International.
How many Rotary International?
Noble has.
It's Noble.
Indianapolis.
It is really, really worth it. And we had already decided most of us were, I think all of us, were going to Calgary. So if anybody wants to join us.
And Dennis mentioned the rent, how much does it cost?
Registration,
Yeah.
Was it 5?
around $500.
Yeah, if you do it early, you save maybe $100 or something.
I mean, I had gone to Frankfurt in 19. I was registered for Hawaii in 20, which didn't happen. And 21 was all online.
Yeah.
And so this was the first one live again. And I wasn't gonna go. I typically don't go in the US. I typically use an excuse to travel abroad, but I missed it. And so November before, last November, I said, I'm going. You know, I miss, everything that's going on. Because I've been involved, I don't know how many people that I've run into at these things from around the world that I've met at some time.
It was kind of annoying everywhere we went.
Dennis was accosting people.
Yeah. But
And-
he did know a lot of people though, which
Yeah.
is kind of amazing.
And it was very organized. Our hotel was what? 4 blocks from the convention center, 5 blocks from? You would have thought it was like 14 miles because these guys are like sweating in the heat down there. 'Cause it
You
was-
just get on
it
a
was
bus and you- they bus you
92,
everywhere.
95 every day, yeah. So they did run shuttles that constantly ran between the hotels.
Very well.
So you could get on and ride in comfort.
So the key is, what we found out is as soon as, like, let's say, Singapore's over, right? That week or month, you have to register for the next one. You get the discount, and then get your flights and get your hotels. Because that's how fast it all books up if you wanna get close, and you wanna be there close. And if you have a bunch of people, to get everybody on the same flights and everybody in the same hotel, it's very difficult if you don't do it early. If you wait till the last minute, you're
We
never.
weren't far away.
No, we were fine, but it
Yeah.
was a challenge. We sat down at a table here, I think it was, right, or Buddha,
And Muda.
and we all had our laptops. We're trying to book the same, and we all look up the stuff, and it, like, she would say, well, my computer says that it's unavailable, but I could see it, I could get in. Like, it was the
The
weirdest thing.
hotel, yeah. Denise got the cheapest one.
Same hotel, same room.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
Mine
ended up
was
booking.
like $400 cheaper than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then she had to cancel it.
So we ended up, like, I put I think all the rooms on one, and then these guys paid me, because we
No,
could
the
get all
flight.
together, I got all the flights.
Yeah, and we did all the rooms.
You have to
ourselves.
coordinate all that, otherwise you'll never get it right. But it was kinda crazy, but.
How many people from the district went?
That picture wasn't everybody, there was probably at least 5 or 6 other people that weren't in that picture,
25,
so I would say 30-ish.
All around 30.
So how many people are
So
going to Calgary with us?
E-Town had a good showing from the district.
Yeah, we have the most of any club. So how many people are going to Calgary with us?
I would like to go.
It'll be the year I will be president.
Anybody
We
going to
must all
Melbourne?
go.
What's that?
Anybody going to Melbourne?
I'm thinking about it.
So, the deterrent there, well, unless you have a lot of miles, the deterrent would be that the flight's gonna cost you more than the whole other thing.
Yeah.
And you have that extra day of travel.
So
Because it's painful hours.
I'm traveling there for work, I just booked flights, and it's probably at a high point, and I think my tickets were around $1,400 round trip.
First class.
Yeah, see, no, they can,
No,
yeah.
back by the toilets.
If you book too early, the price is huge. And the price will drop when it gets, when the planes get so full, then the price is going back up. So, yeah, you know, you said 1,400, when I went to Sydney, you know, it was, I don't know. I think it was just under 1,000 when I flew to Sydney.
Yes, that's not bad. But it is fun. So, sure, we'll put it out and get a whole entourage to go.
Yeah, it'd be great if you had 10 people or something like that to go.
Yeah, because it, like, as you can tell, it wasn't just fun being there, walking around, doing the activities and the you know, the big room, the big hall. It's also outside. You know, we met some fantastic people. Hopefully, we didn't do anything to make ourselves unforgettable, that we can remember.
Did they have the parade of students to the,
No students. Flag, parade of flags.
The parade of flags, but it wasn't students, they were like a bunch of people that just
representative
kept them
different
out.
countries? Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, you could tell it wasn't the representative of that country per se, because the same guy wearing the same shirt or the woman with the same dress came out with different flags.
And that's the first time. The other ones I've been
It might be
to,
because
every
of COVID.
flag has been carried by someone from that country.
Yes, yeah.
But they didn't do that this year. And, you know, somebody had mentioned, you know, COVID, and I had heard that there were different countries where people could not get out to come. Rotarians could not get out of their country to come.
Well, they may be able to get out, but not back in.
Or some couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Uh,
How many people do you think were from Ukraine? Did you guys, oh, you weren't,
I don't know, you see the groups of them,
I couldn't get all
10,
kinds of
15 people, something like that.
yeah. And they talked a lot about that in their speeches.
Is it in July every year, same month, or is it?
We went in June.
Yeah, it's June.
Actually,
It
I
was-
listed the
sometimes it's
different
end of
dates in May, June.
Yeah, maybe end of May, early June.
So that's why it'll be nice going Calgary north versus Houston south in the end.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say, so this is my 6th convention, and because I was traveling and, you know, 5 of us, you know, did this together, this was the most fun of the 6 that I've been to. I've enjoyed every one of them.
And you lived through it barely. Next time you die.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good thing he didn't shoot you if you found out you were hotel bar.
I'm gonna put a
He's a
GPS
born
tracker.
ride wolf, and you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna need help someday, and nobody's gonna come to his rescue. You're
I
gonna-
have a dilemma.
Uh-oh.
My mom was born and raised just north of Calgary. I've been to Calgary many times, I have a cousin there. And, you know, I'll be 84 then.
Perfect.
If
We'll
you
push
can
your
carry me
wheelchair.
around, I'll be.
Perfect.
I mean,
I was waiting to hear the dilemma.
He just ran the 5K run 2 laps in 8
Yeah.
minutes. You can do it.
We'll
Shut up,
push
Rob,
your
you're
we'll push your wheelchair. TSA will be kind to you. You'll be at the front of the
Well,
line.
get to get on
I
the
would love to be there, you know, but.
And if something happens, we'll bury you at your mother's place.
My granddad was a pastor of a church right outside of town.
What
Glenn
Glenn
will
will
spring
say
for the
is
shovel.
nothing's gonna happen.
I used to be buried with all my uncles, man.
And I'll be in the audience when you get back.
Any other questions? Good.
Have a good week, everybody.